The sun was low in the sky, and the desert looked like it was glowing. The air was hot, but the wind was calm. A long dirt road ran through the land, and it was empty except for one lone rider. The cowboy's name was Jack. He was tall and lean, with a dusty hat and tired eyes. He had been traveling for days, moving from one town to another, trying to find work and a place to rest. Jack was used to the quiet. He liked the peace of the open land. But this trip felt different. The roads were filled with rumors. People spoke in whispers about strange things happening in the area. The story everyone talked about was a woman, an Apache woman who was said to be 7 feet tall. That was a huge height for a person, and people could not stop talking about her. Some said she was dangerous. Some said she was a spirit. Others said she was lost and needed help. But no one really knew the truth. Jack had heard all the stories. He had heard how people feared her because she looked different and moved in a way that seemed unusual. He had heard how people in the towns were scared to go near her. They said she would show up suddenly, like a shadow, and then disappear just as quickly. Jack did not like stories that made people afraid. He believed fear was often based on misunderstanding. He had seen many things in his life. He knew that people often judged others without knowing them. So when he heard about the tall Apache woman, he felt a strange pull. Not curiosity like a tourist, not excitement like a gambler. It was more like concern. He wanted to know why people were so afraid. He wanted to see her for himself. He rode his horse slowly, taking in the landscape. The desert was quiet, but there was a kind of beauty in that quiet. The rocks were warm, and the sky was wide. Jack could see far ahead. He could see the small town of Red Creek in the distance. It was a dusty little place with a few buildings and a small saloon. The town looked peaceful from afar, but Jack knew that appearances could be deceiving. As he got closer, he could hear the sound of people talking. The voices were not loud, but they carried through the air. He could feel the tension. The town felt uneasy, like it was holding its breath. Jack slowed his horse and walked into the town slowly. People stopped and stared. Some looked away quickly, as if they were embarrassed to be seen watching him. Others watched with curiosity, like they were waiting for something to happen. Jack walked to the center of town, where there was a small wooden bench. He sat down and took off his hat. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked around. The buildings were simple and worn. There was a general store, a small church, and the saloon where the men gathered in the evenings. A few children were playing near the street, but they stayed close to their mothers. The adults spoke in low voices. Jack listened carefully. He could hear bits of the conversation. Someone said, "She was seen near the creek again." Another voice said, "They say she cries at night." A woman said, "I saw her once. She is so tall. It's frightening." A man said, "She doesn't belong here. She should leave." Jack could feel the fear in their words. He could also feel something else. There was a kind of sadness. It was like the people were afraid, but they also felt guilty for being afraid. Jack understood that feeling. He had felt it before in his life. Sometimes people were scared of things they did not understand, and that fear made them act in ways they did not like. He stayed on the bench for a while, watching the town. He did not want to cause trouble. He did not want to make people feel even more afraid. He simply wanted to see if the stories were true. He wanted to find the tall woman and see her for himself. After some time, Jack noticed a group of men standing near the edge of town. They were talking and pointing toward the hills. Their faces looked serious. Their eyes were sharp. Jack could tell they were the kind of men who liked to feel in control. He could tell they were the kind of men who would not think twice before making a decision that could hurt someone else. Jack stood up and walked toward them. He did not speak at first. He simply listened. He heard one of the men say, "She has been seen again. She is near the creek."
"We should go and make sure she leaves," another man replied. "We can't just let her stay."
"People are scared. We have to do something. Wait."
Jack felt a tight feeling in his chest. He knew what they meant. They wanted to chase her away. They wanted to force her to leave. They wanted to make her feel like she did not belong. Jack did not agree with that. He believed everyone deserved respect, no matter how different they were. He stepped forward and spoke calmly. "What are you planning to do?" The men turned and looked at him. They were surprised to see someone new in town. One of them said, "We are just making sure everyone is safe." Jack nodded slowly. "I understand. But have you ever asked her why she is here? Have you ever asked her if she needs help?" The men laughed. One of them said, "Help? She's a giant. She doesn't need help. She's the one who should be scared." Jack did not say anything. He could feel his anger rising, but he kept his voice calm. He looked at the men and said, "Fear makes people cruel. You don't know her. You don't know what she has been through." The men looked at him with confusion. They were not used to someone speaking like that. They were used to people agreeing with them. Jack could feel the tension growing. He could tell they were not going to listen to him. Planned, changed their minds to stop out of the bank. He turned away and walked back to the bench. But he also knew he could not leave the woman alone. He decided he would go to the creek and see for himself. He wanted to find her before the men did. Jack mounted his horse and rode slowly toward the creek. The land became greener as he got closer. The sound of water became clearer. He could see trees and bushes near the water. It looked like a safe place. It looked like a place where someone could hide and feel protected. As he approached, he saw something that made him stop. A tall figure was standing near the water. The figure was still, like a statue. Jack could not believe how tall she was. She was taller than any person he had ever seen. Her long hair fell over her shoulders. She wore simple clothing, and her face looked tired. Jack felt a strange feeling. He felt both fear and curiosity. But the fear was not about her height. The fear was about how lonely she looked. It was the kind of loneliness that made a person feel invisible. Jack could feel the sadness in the air. He slowed his horse and approached carefully. He did not want to startle her. He spoke softly. "Hello." The woman turned her head, slowly. Her eyes were wide. She looked surprised. Jack could see that she was afraid. She took a step back, as if she wanted to run. Her hands trembled. Jack could see that she was crying. Jack stopped and did not move. He wanted to show her he was not a threat. He spoke gently. "I'm not here to hurt you." The woman's voice was quiet and shaky. She said, "Don't be scared of me." Jack was surprised. He had expected her to be angry. He had expected her to say something harsh, but her voice sounded like someone who was tired of being misunderstood. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. Jack stayed still. He felt his heart soften. He could see the pain in her face. He could see the fear she carried. He understood that she had been through a lot. He understood that she was not a threat. She was simply a person who needed someone to understand her. He nodded slowly. "I'm not scared." The woman looked at him again, as if she did not believe him. She wiped her tears with her sleeve. Her hands were shaking. She said, "People always run away. They always look at me like I am a monster." Jack felt a lump in his throat. He did not know what to say. He only knew he wanted to help. He wanted to show her that not everyone was like that. He spoke softly. "I don't think you're a monster. I think you're a person who has been hurt." The woman's eyes widened. She looked at him with a strange expression. It was like she could not believe someone would say that. She took a deep breath and looked down at the water. The water reflected her face. She looked like she was seeing herself for the first time. Jack stayed near the creek. He did not move. He did not want to scare her away. He wanted her to feel safe. He knew that the town might not understand her, but he wanted to. The sun continued to set. The sky turned orange and pink. The world felt quiet. Jack and the tall woman stood near the water, not speaking much, but in that quiet, something changed. The fear began to fade. A small spark of trust appeared. Jack did not know what would happen next. He did not know if the townspeople would find them. He did not know if the woman would trust him. But he knew one thing: he would not leave her alone. The night was calm and quiet. The sky was full of stars, and the moon cast a soft light over the creek. The water moved slowly, making a gentle sound that felt peaceful. Jack stayed near the tall woman, and he could feel her breathing slow down. She was still afraid, but she was no longer shaking as much. Jack did not want to rush her. He knew that trust was not something that could be forced. He stayed where he was, giving her space. After a few minutes, the woman finally spoke again. "My name is Naya," she said softly. Her voice was gentle, but it sounded tired. "I don't know why I am here. I don't know where I belong." Jack listened carefully. He did not interrupt. He knew that sometimes people needed to speak, even if they did not know the right words. He wanted her to feel heard. "My tribe is far away," Naya continued. "I was separated from them. I was young. I tried to find them, but the land is big. The world is big. I became lost." Jack nodded slowly. He could see the sadness in her eyes. He could feel her pain, even though she did not say much. He knew that being separated from family could be one of the hardest things a person could experience. "I have been alone for a long time," Naya said. "People see me and they are afraid. They think I am strange. They think I am dangerous. They don't understand that I am just a person who is scared." Jack felt a deep sadness inside him. He did not want to imagine how hard her life must have been. He had heard stories about how people treated those who were different. He knew that sometimes people acted cruelly out of fear. But hearing it from Naya made it feel real. Jack decided to share something about himself. He wanted her to know that she was not the only one who had felt alone. "My name is Jack," he said. "I have been traveling for a long time. I used to have a home, but things changed. I lost my family, and I started moving from place to place. Sometimes I feel like I don't belong anywhere." Naya looked at him with surprise. She did not expect him to share his story. She had expected him to be strong and quiet, like a cowboy should be. But he was different. He was honest. "You lost your family?" Naya asked, her voice filled with curiosity. Jack nodded. "Yeah. It was a long time ago. I don't like to talk about it much, but I know what it feels like to be alone." Naya's eyes softened. She looked down at the water again. "I didn't know you could be lonely even when you were not a child." Jack smiled gently. "Loneliness can happen at any age. Sometimes it is the hardest thing to carry. Naya stayed quiet for a while. She seemed to be thinking. The night air was cool, and the sounds of the creek felt soothing. Jack could see that she was starting to relax. The fear in her eyes was slowly changing into something else. It was not trust yet, but it was closer. After some time, Naya spoke again. "Why did you come here?" she asked. Jack thought for a moment. He could have said something simple, like, "I heard stories," but he wanted to be honest. He wanted her to know his real reason. "I heard about you," Jack said. "People were afraid of you. They were talking about you. But I wanted to see if the stories were true. I wanted to see if you were really as scary as they said." Naya looked at him and gave a small laugh. It was the first sound of joy Jack had heard from her. "I am not scary," she said softly. "I am just big," Jack nodded. "People are afraid of what they do not understand. They see your height and they think it means you are dangerous, but it does not." Naya's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were not only sad, they were also grateful. She wiped her face with her sleeve and tried to smile. "I have not met many people who speak like you," she said. "Most people run away."
Most people shout. Most people throw stones or shout words that hurt.
Jack felt a sharp pain in his heart. He hated to hear that. He hated to think that someone could be so lonely that they had to face the world alone. He wanted to help her. He wanted to make things better. "Do you want to come with me?" Jack asked suddenly. "I can take you somewhere safe. I can help you find your tribe, or at least help you find a place where people will not be afraid." Naya looked at him with surprise. She did not expect such a kind offer. She had lived her life without anyone offering help. She had lived with fear and rejection. She did not know how to respond. "I don't know," she said softly. "I don't know if I can trust anyone." Jack nodded. "I understand. You don't have to decide right now. I am not asking you to follow me immediately.
I am only asking you to consider it."
Naya stayed quiet for a long time. She looked at the stars and then back at Jack. The silence felt heavy, but it was not uncomfortable. It was a silence of two people who were learning to understand each other. Finally, Naya spoke. "I will think about it," she said, "but I cannot go far. I am tired. I have been walking for days. I need rest." Jack nodded. "Jack, you can stay here tonight. I will stay too."
I will not leave you alone. Naya's eyes widened.
She looked at him with a mix of surprise and relief. She had not expected anyone to offer to stay with her. She had not expected anyone to care. "Thank you," she said quietly. Jack set up a small camp near the creek. He made a small fire and cooked a simple meal. He shared some food with Naya. She ate slowly, as if she was not used to having food offered to her. Jack watched her carefully, making sure she was okay. He did not rush her. He let her eat in peace. As they ate, Jack noticed something. Naya was not only tall, she was also very careful with her movements. She moved like someone who had learned to be quiet. She moved like someone who did not want to be noticed. Jack realized that she had spent so much time alone that she had become used to being invisible. Jack thought about the men in the town. He thought about how they wanted to chase her away. He felt a strong feeling inside him. He did not like the idea of people being treated unfairly. He knew he could not stop the town from fearing her, but he could at least try to protect her. After the meal, the night became darker. The fire crackled softly. Jack and Naya sat quietly, listening to the sounds of the creek. Naya's breathing became steady. Jack could see that she was finally beginning to relax. Jack spoke softly. "You don't have to be scared anymore. Not tonight." Naya looked at him. Her eyes were filled with tears again. She nodded slowly. "I hope you are right," she said. Jack smiled. "I am right. You are safe here. I will make sure of it." Naya closed her eyes. For the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to feel calm. She felt the warmth of the fire and the gentle sound of the water. She felt the presence of someone who did not fear her. The night passed slowly. The stars moved across the sky. The world stayed quiet. Jack stayed awake for a while, watching the fire. He thought about the town and the men who wanted to chase Naya away. He thought about how fear could hurt people. He thought about how kindness could change a person's life. When the first light of morning appeared, Jack woke up. He looked at Naya. She was still sleeping. She looked peaceful. Jack felt a small smile on his face. He knew that the day ahead would be difficult. He knew the town would not easily accept Naya. He knew the men might come looking for her. But he also knew something else. He knew that he would not let her face it alone. Jack quietly packed his things. He did not wake Naya. He wanted to give her a few more moments of rest. He sat near the creek and waited for the sun to rise fully. When the sun rose, the world looked bright and new. Jack felt a new sense of purpose. He knew that this day would change his life. He knew that meeting Naya was not a coincidence. He knew that he was meant to help her. And he knew that the real test was coming. The real challenge was not the distance, not the desert, not the fear. The real challenge was the people who were afraid of her. The real challenge was the town. Jack stood up, took a deep breath, and walked toward Naya. He gently touched her shoulder. She opened her eyes slowly, blinking as if she had just woken from a dream. "Good morning," Jack said softly. Naya looked at him and smiled slightly. "Good morning," she replied. Jack nodded. "We need to go back to the town," he said. "But don't worry, I will be with you." Naya's face changed. She looked scared again. She stood up slowly, her body tense. She looked at Jack and asked, "Why would you do that? Why would you go back to the place where people are afraid of me?" Jack looked at her and said, "Because you deserve to be seen as a person. Because you deserve to have a life. Because I promised I would not leave you alone." Naya's eyes filled with tears again. She looked at Jack, and for the first time, she felt something she had not felt in a long time: hope. Jack and Naya walked toward the town slowly. The morning air was cool and fresh, and the sun made the desert look bright and warm. Naya walked carefully, her eyes looking around as if she was watching for danger. Jack stayed beside her, close enough that she could feel his presence. He wanted her to know she was not alone. As they walked, Naya kept looking at the ground. She did not look at the buildings or the people. She seemed to be afraid of what she might see. Jack understood. He had seen fear in people before. He knew that fear could make a person feel like the world was a place full of danger. Jack spoke softly. "You don't have to hurry. We can take it slow." Naya nodded, but did not say anything. She looked at Jack and asked, "Will they hurt me?" Jack stopped for a moment and thought. He did not want to lie. He did not want to promise something he could not keep. He wanted to be honest, but he also wanted to give her hope. "I don't know," Jack said carefully, "but I will do my best to keep you safe. I will stand with you. I will not let anyone hurt you." Naya looked at him with a mixture of fear and trust. She had not heard those words in a long time. She had not felt safe in a long time. She nodded slowly, and they continued walking. When they reached the edge of town, people stopped what they were doing. They stared. Some whispered. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. The children stopped playing and stood close to their mothers. The adults stood in small groups, watching them. The air felt heavy. Jack could feel the eyes on them. He could feel the tension. He could feel the fear in the people's faces. He knew this was going to be difficult. Jack walked forward and called out, "Good morning." The voices in the crowd grew quiet. A man stepped forward. He was the sheriff of the town. He was tall and strong, and he had a serious look on his face. He wore a badge and a hat, and he looked like someone who wanted to be in control. The sheriff looked at Naya and then at Jack. His eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" he asked. Jack answered calmly, "My name is Jack. This is Naya." The sheriff looked at Naya again. His face showed a mix of surprise and fear. He said,
You can't bring her here.
"She doesn't belong in this town." Naya's face changed. She looked scared. She took a step back, as if she wanted to run. Jack stepped in front of her, putting himself between her and the sheriff. He wanted to protect her, and he wanted to show the sheriff that she was not alone. Jack spoke firmly. "She is a person. She has the right to be here." The sheriff shook his head. "People are afraid. They don't want someone like her around. She is too different. She is too tall. She is not like us." Jack felt his heart tighten. He did not like hearing those words. He did not like how the sheriff was speaking about Naya, like she was not human. He knew that fear could make people say cruel things. He also knew that sometimes people in power used fear to control others. Jack looked at the sheriff and said, "She is not dangerous. She is just different. You don't know her story." The sheriff looked at Jack and smiled in a cold way. "I know enough. I know she is not welcome here. And if she stays, people will be scared. People will cause trouble." Jack could see that the sheriff was not going to change his mind easily. He could see that the sheriff wanted to keep his power. He wanted to keep control of the town. He wanted everyone to follow his rules. Jack knew he had to think carefully. He did not want to start a fight. He did not want anyone to get hurt. He wanted to protect Naya without causing more fear. He looked at the crowd and spoke in a calm voice. "I know you are afraid, but I want you to understand. Naya is not here to hurt anyone. She is not here to cause trouble. She is just a person who needs help." Some people in the crowd looked at Jack with confusion. Some looked angry. Some looked unsure. Jack could see that his words were not changing everyone's minds, but he could also see that some people were listening. Some people were not shouting. They were not making a scene. That meant something. A woman in the crowd stepped forward. She was older, with kind eyes and a gentle face. She spoke softly. "I saw her by the creek last night. She looked scared. She looked tired. She did not look like someone who wanted to hurt us." The sheriff looked at the woman and frowned. "You saw her? You should not have gone near her." The woman shook her head. "I went near her because I was curious. I wanted to know if the stories were true. I wanted to know if she was dangerous. She was not. She was just a person." The sheriff looked angry. He looked like he wanted to say something harsh. But he stopped. He looked at the crowd, and he saw that some people were nodding. Some people were thinking. The sheriff realized he might be losing control. Jack saw this as a small victory. He knew that change would not happen quickly, but he knew that small moments like this could start something. He decided to speak again. "I know you are worried," Jack said, "but fear is not a good reason to hurt someone. If we can talk and understand each other, we can live peacefully." Naya stood behind Jack. She looked at the crowd with wide eyes. She was still afraid, but she felt stronger because Jack was with her. She felt like she had someone to protect her. The sheriff finally spoke again. His voice was still firm, but there was a small change in it. "You can stay for a short time," he said. "But you must leave tomorrow. We cannot have someone like you here." Naya's face fell. She looked like she was about to cry. She looked at Jack, and he could see the sadness in her eyes. Jack wanted to argue, but he knew that pushing too hard could make things worse. He wanted to find a way to help her without causing more fear. Jack looked at the sheriff and said, "At least give her a chance. Let her stay for a few days. Let people get to know her." The sheriff hesitated. He looked at the crowd. He could see that some people were still scared, but some were starting to accept the idea. He sighed and nodded. "Fine, a few days, but if there's any trouble, she must leave." Jack nodded. "Thank you." The sheriff turned and walked away, leaving the crowd behind. The people began to move, some going back to their homes, some still watching. The town returned to its normal life, but the air still felt tense. Jack could feel that the real challenge was still ahead. Jack turned to Naya and said, "It's okay. You can stay. But we need to find a place for you to sleep, somewhere safe." Naya nodded, but she looked unsure. "Where will I sleep?" she asked. Jack thought for a moment. He knew the town did not have many safe places. He knew the people might not accept her easily, but he also knew that he could not leave her alone. He had to find a way. He remembered the old barn on the edge of town. It was empty and unused. The owner was away, and no one went near it. It was not a place where many people would go. Jack decided it would be a good place for Naya to stay for a while. He took Naya to the barn. The barn was quiet and dusty, but it was safe. Jack brought some blankets and food. He made a small corner for her to sleep. Naya looked around, and for the first time in a long time, she felt a small sense of safety. "Thank you," Naya said quietly. Jack smiled. "You're welcome." Naya sat down on the blankets. She looked at Jack and said, "Do you think they will accept me?" Jack looked at her and said, "I don't know, but I will do my best. And you must be patient. People need time to understand." Naya nodded slowly. She looked at the blankets and then at the door. She looked at the world outside and felt scared again. But she also felt something else. She felt hope. Jack left the barn and walked back into the town. He knew he had to prepare for the days ahead. He knew that some people would still be afraid. He knew that some people would still try to chase Naya away, but he also knew that there were people who were willing to listen. Jack walked to the general store and bought some supplies. He bought food, blankets, and water. He wanted to make sure Naya had everything she needed. He wanted to show her that someone cared. As he walked back, he saw the woman who had spoken earlier. She waved at him. Jack waved back. He felt a small sense of comfort. He knew that he was not alone in this. He knew that there were people who were willing to help. Jack returned to the barn. He knocked on the door softly. Naya opened it and looked at him. He handed her the supplies. "Here," Jack said. "This will help." Naya took the supplies and smiled. "Thank you," she said again. Jack nodded. Get some rest. Tomorrow will be a new day. Naya nodded and closed the door. Jack stood outside for a moment, looking at the barn. He knew that the real test was still ahead. He knew that the town would not accept Naya easily, but he also knew that he would not give up. He looked at the sky and took a deep breath. He felt a strong sense of determination. He knew that he had made a promise, and he would keep it. He would protect Naya. He would help her find a place where she could be safe and accepted. The sun began to set again. The town grew quiet. The world felt calm. But Jack knew that the next day would be important. He knew that he had to be ready for whatever would happen. He walked away from the barn and headed toward his own place to rest. But he did not feel tired. He felt awake. He felt alive. He felt like he was doing something meaningful. And he knew that his life had changed forever. The next morning, Jack woke up early. The sun was just starting to rise and the air was cool. He had not slept much. His mind was full of thoughts about Naya and the town. He knew that today would be a difficult day. He knew that some people might still be afraid of her. He knew that some people might try to force her to leave. Jack quickly ate a small breakfast and packed his things. He walked toward the barn where Naya was staying. As he approached, he saw the door open. Naya stood there, looking outside. She looked tired but determined. Her eyes were calm, and she seemed ready to face the day. Jack smiled at her. "Good morning," he said softly. Naya nodded. "Good morning," she replied. Jack looked at her and asked, "How are you feeling?" Naya thought for a moment. "I am scared," she admitted. "But I also feel like I am not alone." Jack nodded. "That is good," he said.
We will face this together.
Naya took a deep breath. "What if they do not accept me?" she asked. Jack looked at her and said, "Then we will find another way, but we will not give up." She looked at Jack and asked, "Will you stay with me today?" Jack smiled.
Yes, he said.
"I will stay with you." They walked out of the barn together. The sun was higher now, and the town was beginning to wake up. People were starting their daily tasks. The children were playing. The adults were working, but the air still felt tense. The memory of the previous day was still in their minds. Jack and Naya walked slowly toward the town center. Naya kept her head down. She did not want to attract attention. Jack walked beside her, and he tried to keep her calm. He spoke to her softly. "Just keep walking. Keep your head up. You're not doing anything wrong." Naya nodded. She tried to follow his advice. She lifted her head slightly and looked at the people. Some people looked away quickly. Some stared. Some whispered. Naya felt the old fear rise again. She felt her heart beat faster. Her hands trembled. Jack noticed her fear. He gently placed his hand on her shoulder. "It is okay," he said.
"You are safe," Naya nodded. She took a deep breath and kept walking.
As they reached the town center, they saw a group of people gathered near the saloon. The sheriff was there, talking to some men. But Jack could see that the sheriff looked worried. Jack could tell that the sheriff was trying to keep control of the situation. The sheriff saw Jack and Naya and walked toward them. He stopped in front of them and said, "I told you she could stay only for a few days. Now it is time for her to leave." Jack looked at the sheriff and said, "We have not caused any trouble. She has not hurt anyone." The sheriff's face showed anger. "People are still afraid. That is enough. I cannot let her stay." Naya stepped forward, her voice shaking. "Please," she said softly. I do not want to leave. I have nowhere else to go. Jack looked at her and then at the sheriff. He could see the sadness in Naya's eyes. He could see how much she wanted to stay. He could see that the town was not just a place. It was a chance for her to feel accepted. Jack spoke calmly. She is not asking for much. She is just asking for a chance. The sheriff shook his head. A chance is not enough. People are worried.
They think she is strange. They think she is different.
I cannot risk the peace of this town. Jack could see that the sheriff was trying to make a decision that would keep him in power. He was trying to keep everyone calm, even if it meant hurting someone else. Jack did not like that. Jack took a deep breath and said, Let me speak to the people. Let me explain. Let me show them that she is not dangerous. The sheriff looked at Jack with surprise. He did not expect Jack to speak like that. The sheriff hesitated, but then he nodded slowly. Fine, he said, but if anything goes wrong, she must leave immediately. Jack nodded. He turned to the crowd and raised his voice. Listen, he said. I know you are scared. I know you do not understand. But fear is not a good reason to hurt someone. The crowd grew quiet. People looked at Jack with curiosity. Some looked angry. Some looked thoughtful. Jack continued.
Naya has been here for only a short time.
She has not done anything wrong. She is not here to harm you. She is here because she is lost and alone. A few people in the crowd looked surprised. They had not heard Naya's story. They had only heard the rumors. Jack spoke again. She is not a monster. She is a person. She is someone who has been through pain. She deserves kindness. As Jack spoke, Naya stood beside him. She looked at the people with a calm face. She did not speak, but her presence was strong. She was not hiding anymore. She was standing up for herself. The crowd started to whisper. Some people looked at each other. Some people looked unsure. Jack could see that his words were making a difference. He could see that some people were beginning to think. Then, a young boy stepped forward. He looked nervous, but he was brave. He walked up to Naya and looked up at her. Are you really not dangerous? He asked. Naya smiled softly. No, she said gently. I am not dangerous. The boy looked at Jack and then at Naya. He nodded slowly. Okay, he said.
I think you can stay.
The crowd was silent for a moment. Then a few people started to clap. Not many, but a few. It was a small sign of support, but it was still important. It showed that not everyone was afraid. The sheriff looked at the crowd and saw the small change. He looked at Jack and said, This is not over. People will still be scared. I will watch you, Jack nodded. I understand, he said, but please let her stay for now. Fine, he said, but only for a little longer. Jack nodded. Thank you. The crowd slowly began to disperse. Some people went back to their work. Some people stayed and talked quietly. Jack and Naya walked away from the crowd and went back to the barn. Naya looked at Jack and said, You did it. You helped me. Jack shook his head. You helped yourself, he said. You stood up. You showed them that you are not scary. Naya looked down. I am still scared, she said softly. Jack smiled gently. That is okay. Being brave does not mean you are not scared. It means you keep going even when you are scared. Naya nodded. She felt a small sense of strength. She looked at Jack and asked, Do you think they will ever accept me? Jack thought for a moment.
Maybe, he said. It will take time.
But if we keep trying, yes, people can change. Naya smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. She felt a little more hopeful than before. As the day went on, Jack stayed with Naya. He helped her with small tasks. He helped her feel comfortable. He showed her the barn and the area around it. He made sure she had food and water. He made sure she felt safe. Later that afternoon, Jack went back to the town to talk to some people. He wanted to help them understand Naya better. He spoke to the woman who had supported Naya before. He spoke to a few others who seemed open to change. He told them Naya's story. He told them that she was not dangerous. He told them that she was just a person who needed help. Some people listened. Some people did not. But Jack did not give up. He knew that change was slow. He knew that he could not make everyone accept Naya. But he knew that he could make a difference, even if it was small. As the sun began to set, Jack returned to the barn. Naya was sitting near the door looking at the sky. She looked peaceful. She looked like she was thinking about the day. Jack sat beside her and said, "You did well today." Naya looked at him. "Did I?" she asked. Jack nodded.
Yes, you were brave.
Naya
Smiled. "I still feel scared," she said. "But I feel like I can do this." Jack smiled back. "You can." They sat together quietly as the sun went down. The sky turned orange and pink. The air became cooler. The world felt calm. Jack knew that the next day would be another challenge. He knew that the sheriff and some people would still be watching. He knew that Naya would still feel afraid, but he also knew something else. He knew that they had made progress. He knew that the town was starting to see Naya as a person, not a story, and he knew that the real change was only beginning. The morning came quietly, with soft sunlight touching the desert. Jack woke up early again, as he had done for the past few days. He felt tired, but he also felt determined. He had promised Naya that he would stay with her and protect her, and he was going to keep that promise. He walked toward the barn where Naya was staying. As he approached, he saw her standing outside, looking at the horizon. Her face looked calm, but her eyes held a deep sadness. Jack could see that she was thinking about something. "Good morning," Jack said softly. Naya turned and looked at him. "Good morning," she replied. Jack noticed that she seemed more confident than before. She stood taller, not only because of her height, but because of her spirit. He could see that she was slowly changing. She was starting to believe that she could belong somewhere. Jack walked up to her and asked, "How are you feeling today?" Naya took a deep breath. "I am still scared," she admitted.
But I feel stronger. Jack nodded. That is good.
"We will keep going." Naya looked at him and asked, "Do you think the town will ever accept me completely?" Jack thought for a moment. He looked at the town in the distance and said, "It will take time. But if we keep being patient and kind, people will change."
Naya nodded slowly.
She looked at the ground again. "I want to find my tribe," she said quietly. "I want to find my family." Jack looked at her and felt a strong emotion in his heart. He knew that finding her tribe would be difficult. The land was big, and she had been lost for so long, but he also knew that it was important to her. He knew that he had to help her. "We will find them," Jack said. "It may take time, but we will try." Naya's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Jack and said, "Thank you." Jack nodded. "You are not alone anymore." They spent the morning preparing for the day. Jack made sure Naya had enough food and water. He brought her some blankets and small things that could make her feel comfortable. He wanted her to feel cared for. He wanted her to feel like she belonged somewhere. As the day went on, Jack decided to take Naya to the town again. He wanted the people to see her as a person, not as a story. He wanted them to see her smile, to see her speak, to see her kindness. Naya felt nervous. She had never been around so many people before. She had never been in a place where people stared at her. But she also felt a new feeling. She felt hope. Jack walked beside her and spoke softly. "Remember, you are not a monster.
You are a person.
You are a person. You are strong."
Naya nodded. I will try. They walked toward the town.
The people were already awake and busy. Some of them looked at Naya with fear. Some looked with curiosity. Some looked with kindness. Jack could feel the difference. He could feel that the town was slowly changing. They reached the town center. The sheriff was there again, watching. He looked tired and worried. He walked toward Jack and Naya. "I warned you," the sheriff said. "You cannot keep her here forever." Jack looked at the sheriff and said, "I know, but we are not leaving today. She is not causing any trouble." The sheriff looked at Naya and then at the crowd. He could see that some people were beginning to accept her. He could also see that some people were still afraid. He sighed and said, "Fine. But if there is any problem, she must leave." Jack nodded. Understood. The sheriff walked away. Jack looked at Naya and said, "Now is a good time to talk to people. Show them who you are." Naya nodded slowly. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. She looked at the people and spoke clearly. "My name is Naya," she said. "I am lost. I do not want to hurt anyone. I only want a place to stay. I want to find my tribe." The crowd grew quiet. Some people looked surprised. Some people looked moved. They had never heard her speak before. They had never heard her tell her story. A few people began to speak softly among themselves. They were not shouting. They were not making fun. They were simply talking. Jack could see that the words were changing the atmosphere. One of the women from the town stepped forward again. She said, "I believe you. You seem kind." Another man spoke. "Maybe we were wrong to judge you." The crowd started to change. The fear was still there, but it was becoming smaller. People were beginning to see Naya as a person. They were beginning to understand that she was not a threat. Naya looked at Jack. She felt a strong emotion. She felt relief. She felt like she was finally being seen. She felt like she was finally being heard. Jack smiled at her. He felt proud. He felt like his decision to stay with her was the right one. But then, something unexpected happened. A traveler arrived in the town. He was a young man with a strong look. He was wearing clothes that looked like they were from a different place. He walked into the town center and looked around. He seemed to be searching for someone. Jack noticed him. He felt a strange feeling. He looked at the traveler and wondered who he was. The traveler walked up to the crowd and asked, "Have you seen a woman? A very tall woman? She is from the Apache tribe." Naya's heart stopped. She looked at the traveler with wide eyes. She felt a sudden hope. Could this be someone who knew her? Could this be someone from her tribe? Jack stepped forward and said, "Yes, she is here." The traveler looked at Naya, and his face changed. He looked surprised and then relieved. He walked closer to her.
Naya?
He asked softly.
Naya?
he asked softly. Naya's eyes filled with tears. She looked at the traveler. Is that you? She asked. The traveler nodded. Yes. My name is Tawa. I have been searching for you for a long time. Naya could not speak. Her hands trembled. She felt a mix of emotions. She felt joy, relief, and fear. She felt like her heart was going to burst. Jack watched the scene quietly. He felt happy for Naya. He felt proud. He felt like he had done something good, but he also felt a small sadness. He knew that Naya might leave the town. He knew that his time with her might be ending, but he also knew that this was what she wanted. Tawa turned to Jack and said, "Thank you for taking care of her. She has been lost for a long time." Jack nodded. "You're welcome," he said. "I only did what was right." Tawa looked at Naya and said, "Come with me. Your family has been searching for you." Naya looked at Jack again. Her eyes were filled with tears. She looked like she did not know what to do. She felt torn. She wanted to go with her tribe. She wanted to find her family. But she also felt a strong bond with Jack. He had helped her when no one else did. Jack stepped closer and said softly, "Naya, you should go. You deserve to be with your family. I will be okay." Naya looked at him. She nodded slowly. "Thank you," she said. "I will never forget you." Jack smiled. "I will never forget you either." Naya turned to Tawa and walked toward him. She took one last look at Jack and then walked away with her tribe member. The crowd watched in silence. Some people looked sad. Some looked happy. Some looked thoughtful. Jack stood in the town center and watched them go. He felt a deep emotion inside him. He felt happy that Naya was finally going home. He felt proud that he had helped her. He felt sad that she was leaving, but he also felt something else. He felt hope. He felt hope that the town had changed. He felt hope that the people had learned something important. Jack walked back to the barn and packed his things. He knew that he would not need to stay there anymore. He knew that his journey would continue, but he also knew that his life had changed forever. As he rode his horse away from the town, he looked back one last time. He saw the people in the town, and he saw Naya standing with Tawa. She was smiling. She looked happy. She looked like she belonged. Jack smiled too. He felt a warm feeling in his heart. He felt proud of what he had done. He felt grateful that he had met Naya. He rode into the open land again. The sun was high in the sky. The world felt wide and free. Jack felt ready for the next part of his life. He knew that he had made a difference. He knew that he had helped someone find their way. And he knew that he would always remember the tall Apache woman who once said, "Don't be scared of me." "Don't be scared of me," said the 7-foot Apache woman, crying. But the cowboy didn't fear instead.